agriculture. It's the economic engine that drives this region. On this episode of Valley's Gold, we're exploring the California sheep and goat industries and going back in time with the Basque culture. We'll even get to sample some California cuisine. So join me, Ryan Jacobsen, on this sheer adventure.
Valley's Gold is produced through a partnership between the Fresno County Farm Bureau and Valley PBS. Production funding for Valley's Gold is provided by
Everyone enjoys getting together to laugh, to talk, and mostly to eat. It sounds so simple, but the reality is that it takes a lot of hard work to feed us. The next time you sit down to eat, remember to thank our farmers. Garge Italian Incorporated since 1949 at 800-696-6108.
The Myers Water Bank and Wildlife Project, a water resource and education program, providing an educational experience that teaches students in the Central Valley about water and wildlife.
For more than 60 years, Brandt has been a major supplier of agricultural specialty products. Formerly Monterey Ag Resources, Brandt provides sustainable solutions for both conventional and organic growers. Brandt, we're proud to call the Valley home.
I've headed on over to the eastern Fresno County foothills, over to Indart Ranches, and with me I have Tim and Ryan Indart. Thanks for having me today, guys.
Thank you, Ryan.
Welcome.
I'm here to learn about sheep a little bit, but I want to start out with, can you tell me the family history?
Well, I can tell you a little bit about it. Ryan is actually fourth generation Indart to run sheep in California.
Wow.
And I'm very proud of the fact that he has decided to do that. And my father, his grandfather, would be very proud of the fact that he's carried on in this business and is doing such a wonderful job.
And that's the one thing, Ryan, like a lot of farm kids, you didn't come straight back to the farm. You actually had another career before starting this back up.
Yeah, I went off to college and then went and worked for the Gala Winery, worked for Superior Farms, who's our biggest customer and slaughters all of our lambs every year. Went back to grad school, Notre Dame, got an MBA, and then worked in the commercial real estate business for 8 years and came back and worked a deal with Dad, and we bought the sheep outright in 2009. So we're all in.
And you being a fourth generation farmer, I've also seen the fifth generation running around here helping take care of the sheep too.
Yes,
so.
That's a real pleasure for all of us. I know it warms my dad's heart, my mom's heart, and it's really fun to see the girls running around here.
Now we're talking California sheep, and the first thing I want to start with is terminology.
Okay.
When we talk about, the male, the females, and the babies, what's the correct terms to use for all these animals?
So the male sheep is a ram, and a ram being an intact male. The female is a ewe.
Okay.
Now, less than a year old, you have ram lambs and ewe lambs.
Okay.
The ewe lambs, those we will keep, and we will produce those in our herd to become future mothers.
Got it. Okay.
So they have the genetics we want.
Great. And when we think of the industry, I mean, predominantly these are being grown for meat as far as the babies, but there is different segments of the industry, correct?
We make 80 to 90% of our income off of lamb sales.
Okay. The one thing I love about the United States agriculture is we don't have anything go to waste.
Ryan, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we need to utilize the entire animal.
Yeah.
And there's value in every single last bit of it.
Nothing goes to waste.
And nothing goes to waste. No, everything has a value.
Yeah. And when we talk about, we talk about meat being a very important part of this, but it's also, we do think of wool when we talk about sheep. Now, you just recently went through your shearing season. Typically come March or April is when you go through the shearing. Talk about what it takes to shear those animals and how often you do that.
We shear them once a year.
Okay.
We shear them once a year. The exception is the rams. Sometimes we'll shear the rams twice a year. and it all gets baled and it all gets put in the warehouse and then put on a truck and sent to New Mexico and sold in an auction. And we also vaccinate that time of year.
Yeah.
We deworm them from internal and external parasites, and we also vaccinate 3 different vaccines to ensure the health of the animal through the rest of the year.
And one of the fun facts you were giving me earlier that I was actually pretty intrigued by is that you just can't shear the lamb or the ewe any time of day. It actually needs to occur during a certain dew point.
Correct. And if we have, like this year, it hasn't been a big issue
Yeah.
because obviously the drought.
Yeah.
But in a real wet year, we have a lot of dew. And so oftentimes you got to wait till, right now we got a nice wind coming through, but sometimes you got to wait till 10:30, 11 o'clock before the wool dries up enough where you can actually cut it, shear it, and bale it. Because if you bale wet wool, guess what happens? It's like baling a wet alfalfa.
Yeah, I bet so. Yeah.
You know, so it just goes up in flames.
Yeah. Between Tim and Ryan, what's your suggestions? What's the perfect lamb chop look like? What are you looking for when you go to the store?
Tell him what it is.
Well, you know, the perfect lamb chop for me, personally, is the T-bone.
Okay.
Okay. Some people like the rack chop, but what we see in the restaurants is the 8-way rib rack. And when I'm talking about those chops, you cut them up into 8, and then and they're like they're little lollipops.
Okay.
What I like are the T-bones.
Okay.
And an inch thick and about that big, maybe a little less, about that big. A little salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, sear them 1 to 2 minutes each side. Stick them on indirect heat.
Okay.
Another 10 minutes.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Huh? That's how to cook the perfect
Yeah,
lamb.
that's it.
Well, good. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for exposing me to the California lamb industry, and I really learned a lot today. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it too.
Thank you, guys. The history of the Basque here in the San Joaquin Valley is tied to the sheep industry. To share a little bit about this, I have Elizabeth Lavelle. Elizabeth, thanks for joining me.
Ryan, this is a really fun one because we have lunch on the table too.
Exactly.
So we're going to talk about the Basque, and you know, the first Basque came to the valley in about 1850. So it's a long over a century and a half.
Some of the first settlers.
That's right, and they were tied to the sheep industry so much. And so originally sheep were here, and they were traditionally on the west side, and they were mostly there for meat because as settlers came to the area, they needed meat to eat. But then pretty soon there was irrigation started coming in, and people realized that they could take them up to the mountain areas, kind of in the lowish foothills, and they could use them for wool as well. So that opened up a whole new industry. And one of the places that we see here, you can see that they had sheep in giant herds. You can see that the sheep just kind of roamed wild. You can see the fencing is kind of rudimentary. They needed to be near a source of water, and that was the main thing. But Basque always went with it. In 1918, already the farmers and ranchers were concerned about disease, and they saw that when they were combining flocks, that did cause disease to spread quickly. So this is actually a photograph of them inoculating a sheep who does not look too happy, but that was what they were doing, and the man's in his suit. I always wonder why that is.
He almost looks like he's probably an actual veterinarian that's out there doing the inoculation.
And these folks were on there. This is just something that probably they were using it as a way to spread education. It might have appeared in the newspaper or something. So here is a picture of our Basque farmer. Now the Basque originally started in the Pyrenees area, and then they moved to Argentina. But as the gold rush came to California, they came with it. And they found that they were very well suited to be out in the fields, and they would just stay there and live with their flock. They became family to them.
Yeah.
And so you can see here is our Basque farmer out on a place called the Bidigary Ranch. It's on the Fresno County's west side. And I love this picture because it's just the epitome of everything you would ever think. You can't really talk about sheep without talking about the Basque. Also on the Bidigary Ranch, Pop was actually hired to go out and take maybe 30 or 40 photographs, and you can see some of them. He got them in all stages. So as they were sheared, we saw the shearing.
Yep.
They would measure and weigh that right out in the field.
In the field, yeah.
That's right. Always long sleeves, always dressed to protect themselves from the sun. Here they're actually doing the shearing, which probably meant the sheep wasn't having a lot of fun. I don't know that they were as concerned about animal welfare in the days this long ago. Also in this episode, we're talking about goats. There we have this guy, and we also have these gals that are just having fun with their kids. I don't know. And then the all-time one that we're not so sure about is, here you go, this sign, Bakersfield DOKK. This was a fraternal organization here in the valley. We are here to get Fresno's Goat. I don't know, but that's
Back in the day, I'll be honest, that looks like a very nice looking goat.
Well, when you had to advertise only in person, really, you couldn't put it on the radio yet. You couldn't put it on TV. I think you had to do live stunts a lot more. And talking about live stunts, we are here at the Shepherd's Inn in downtown Fresno. Now, this organization and this restaurant's been here since 1926. And it is still the most traditional Basque food. You can't talk about the Basque without Basque hotels and Basque food. And here we are, when the Basque hotels were really the place where the Basque folks would go. They would not only go in between jobs, they were always located across from a railroad station. And they would go there for socializing, for a place to stay. They'd find new jobs there, and actually even did health care. Well, one of the things they loved about the Basque Hotel, of course, was the food. And we are having now today a traditional Basque meal. And I'm told it always starts with a soup and bread. You cannot have that. The next course is always a potato salad and a green salad, which is followed by kind of your side of the day and also your stew. And then everybody's favorite main course, in this case, lamb chops, naturally.
Absolutely.
And everybody else loves the fried chicken. So you come down to the Shepherd's Inn, it's 7 days a week, and they're still open to traditional. And what I've heard about that it's still the only hotel that might be open in the Basque community, but you have to know the owner to get around.
There's not a lot of these places left in the valley here. This is one of the very few unique ones, yet there used to be a lot of them.
That's right, and of course it's right across the street from the railroad station, just as it has been for almost a century.
Yeah, it's almost going back in time here.
It is.
Well, good, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for sharing this wonderful history, and can't wait to learn what else we have here on Don't Lock here at the San Joaquin Valley.
Let's have lunch.
Sounds good. I've had lots of fun taping Valley's Gold, but I really got to kid around today at Nicolau Farms in Modesto. With me, I have Walter Nicolau. Walter, thanks for having me out here today.
Welcome, Ryan. Welcome to Nicolau Farms.
How'd you get started in the goat business?
Well, agriculture has been in my blood, I could say, for several generations, but the goats actually started out as a hobby for me with 1 or 2 goats, and here we are some years later milking about 170 goats.
And one of the fun parts is that your family's been in this area for quite some time.
We have. I will be fourth generation in this Westport area of Modesto.
Well, as we start to talk about your goat operation, I really want to start with the simplistic side. Let's talk about the basic terminologies of goats.
Okay.
When we talk about, let's start with the male. What is the male that breeds these animals?
Well, interestingly enough, Ryan, goats use the same terminology as deer. So a male goat is a buck, a female's a doe, and then of course, you have a buckling, a doeling, or kids, as you referred to in your intro.
One thing that when we talk about goats is that I'm sure there's a lot of care that goes into making these animals healthy and just really being as vibrant as we see behind us.
Definitely, yeah. Health and animal comfort is a major focus for us here at Nicolau Farms, and we take the whole gamut by raising all our own forage here and just ensuring that our animals, as you can see, we're under a 4,000 plus square foot shade barn, so animal comfort is a big part of our operation.
And I know you have as far as mixed breeds here, but there's 3 main types of breeds you have that are on this farm. Can you explain those?
We do. Primarily, we are an Alpine herd, but we have crossed in some Saanen, a little bit of La Mancha, and we sprinkle in a Nubian here too for my wife. She's a fan of the Nubians.
And these goats are 100% being used for goat cheese.
Yes,
correct?
all 100% of our milk is processed right here on the farm. That's where we get the terminology farmstead, and so not a drop of milk leaves our farm. It all goes out of here in the form of cheese.
And when we talk about goat cheese, I mean, there's characteristics of it that are much different than the cheese most folks are used to. I'm sure that's what's driving some of the popularity of goat cheese right now.
There are, and we like to concentrate, number one, on quality, and our quality is driven from our freshness and going back to the health and the care of our animals, because our milk is so fresh and so sweet that we don't have a lot of the off flavors and stuff that goat milk is often associated with.
Okay.
So we're very proud to feature a high quality goat milk, in turn turning that into a high quality goat cheese.
Now, when we look at the health of the herd, typically how long does an animal stay in the milking strain? I mean, how many years will she last?
Well, typically a milking goat will milk for about 6 to 8 years. However, we can visit my first goat here on the farm. She's now about 16 years old.
Wow.
And she's in retirement, but she still lives here on the farm.
And you typically have one batch of kids per goat per year on average?
Yes, goats are seasonal breeders, and we kid out once a year. However, we have got to a year-round kidding program, so we're able to have fresh milk on a year-round basis now.
Now, when we talk goat cheese, what exactly is the process that takes place to make that product?
Well, we make over a half a dozen different cheeses, so every cheese has a little bit different process. So we have everything from super fresh cheese that's 48 hours old to our grading cheeses that are 6 to 9 months old.
And when we talk your products, where exactly can you find your products?
Our products are sold statewide. You can find them in high-end grocery stores like Whole Foods. We were featured in the Williams-Sonoma catalog this year for Christmas, and a lot of your small, local, high-end grocery markets.
And Walter, I know you're very proud of the whole process. You take everything from the farm all the way through the cheese-making process. That's really what's kind of brands you and makes you different than everybody else. Explain the process.
We are. Here at Nicolau Farms, we like to say we take it from seed to cheese, and we grow specific varieties of hay here on Nicolau Farms. This is our winter crop that we just put up last week, and that's a ryegrass hay.
Okay.
During the summer, we make teff grass hay. It's an Ethiopian, really fine, high nutrient grass. So we feed no alfalfa here whatsoever. It's all grass hay, and that really lends ourselves to process a really high quality, high component, high butterfat, high protein milk, in turn turning out a really high quality goat cheese.
Well, Walter, thank you so much for showing me around the operation, but really thank you for showing me all your kids.
Well, thank you for coming to Nicolau Farms, Ryan.
Thanks so much. I'm sold I'm in for a good time. I've bid on over to the Fresno Livestock Commission to learn about the auction they have here in Easton. With me I have owners Phil Tews and his daughter Cindy. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks for coming, Ryan.
Well, Phil, I want to begin with you. How'd you get started in the auction business?
You know, I've been around auctions ever since I was a little boy. I was raised in western Nebraska, and every Saturday you would see me at the local auction barn. And I went to Fresno State, graduated there in '62, and was employed by the California Livestock Marketing Association. And I remained there for about 9 years.
Okay.
I went in business for myself, DBAing as a Big Divide Cattle Company. And 1990, this sale barn became available. And I had the opportunity of purchasing it. And since that time, I brought on 2 other partners. Both of them, I'm happy to report, are daughters. And one of them, of course, is currently with us here today.
Great. And when we talk about this auction, Cindy, I think one of the more important things is you guys do a little bit of everything here. I mean, you got all kinds of animals. What type of animals come through on here, and what days do you have an actual auction?
We sell on Thursdays, and on Thursdays we represent the dairy industry.
Okay.
On Saturdays, it's pretty much anything. There could be a pony with a cart, there could be water buffalo, there could be regular buffalo, there's stalker cattle, there's sheep, goats, lambs, pigs, horses.
I've seen an ostrich here. I've seen a donkey here.
Yes.
I've seen a little bit of everything.
Yes. And we have, normally we average 100 buyers and 100 sellers, so they could just show up with anything.
Great. And one thing I think you guys are very proud of here, I know you're very proud of, is the way that you treat the animals when they go through this auction yard. I mean, keeping those animals healthy and making sure to deliver to the customer in that way. Talk about those practices and how much that means to you guys.
Whenever someone new is hired here, they are sat down and they have to watch a video and sign a code of ethics for animal handling. There's a big emphasis on doing what is right because it's right for the animal.
Absolutely. And when we talk about the actual sale process, we all know that involves the hand going up and the actual bidding. This is just as much as what you would expect to see at an auction, but explain that process, what is going on, the actual sale that's taking place with the animal, and what we're seeing when we're in here during that sale auction.
The initial contact comes with personal contact oftentimes, whether we stop by their farm or we stop by their dairy. Sometimes the initial contact is made through our webpage. We have 3 lines. We have our cattle department, we have our sheep and goat department, we have our swine department. And so you get in line, sign your affidavit at the bottom of it, your animals are tagged, and as soon as the last animal in your group goes onto the scale, and the weight is registered, your check is ready in the office.
Wow, that quickly.
That quickly. Mhm.
And Phil, one thing I want to end with is that you guys really have a huge footprint as far as the service area. You told me you were receiving animals from all over the state.
We do. We have a large area. We get them as far south as Santa Maria, over in the Bakersfield area, up into Petaluma, up to Orland. It's just not Fresno, Tulare, Kings County. It's over a wide area. That's only the consigners. Now we have buyers as well.
I'm like a lot of those folks. I'm even scared to scratch my nose during the auction taking place. So, but I'm glad there's people like you that are watching out for us. So,
Good.
Well, good. Phil and Cindy, I can't thank you guys enough for showing me around this great auction yard and just getting to experience a little bit of the flavor of the San Joaquin Valley.
Well,
Ryan,
good.
thank you for coming. We're glad to have you.
I love my food segments here on Valley's Gold, and with me I have Jeremy Hansen of the Painted Table. Jeremy, thanks for joining me again.
Thanks for having me back.
We're talking lamb today.
It's all about lamb.
It is all about lamb. I love lamb, and so we're going to make some lamb burgers today.
Yes, we are. Painted Table lamb burger is very popular, and we've got some local, amazing fresh lamb here.
And that's what I wanted to start with. And
Beautiful color.
Beautiful color. Just a gorgeous representation of what lamb should look like when it's ground up there.
And we're going to make it even better because we're going to add all these wonderful things to it.
That's phenomenal. Well, let's start with, how do you know that's a quality product? What are you looking for?
I look for the color, and it's a beautiful pink. It's got a nice marbled with little bits of fat there, which is going to make the lamb burger super juicy.
Awesome. Well, let's begin with, I know there's some mixings to go.
So, what we like to do is we like to mix a little bit of sheep's milk feta,
Okay.
roasted garlic,
Okay.
and some green olives.
Awesome.
Very simple mix.
Okay.
You just do a little rough chop on this.
And one thing I love, Jeremy, is that you always say this is so easy at home, and it is, I think, but you make it look really easy.
It's really easy. And I want to also add a little bit of fresh oregano.
Okay.
Fresh herbs really enhance anything. Dried herbs are great, a little harder to control flavor-wise.
Okay.
But you want to just do a nice little mix here.
Yeah, you're just going to mix it up there and make
it up.
Make what we would think to be a ground burger mixture there.
Just nice. And you have to remember, if you can actually overwork your meat.
Okay.
And it could actually turn tough. So you don't want to handle it too much.
Absolutely.
You want to mix it. You want to let it rest. And we actually have some.
The magic of TV. We already have some ready to go into the pan here.
And this pan is nice and hot. And what you want to do is you want to add a little bit of brown butter.
Okay.
Which we have right here in the pan.
Okay.
A little bit of olive oil. I know there's a lot of fat in the lamb. So
you're going to take a patty there?
You want to take a patty there. And it's going to take a little bit to cook. I like to poke a little bit of a little dent in the middle of the burger. It'll make the burger cook a lot more evenly.
Okay, got it. Because of planning ahead, we're able to have some of the finished product here right in front of us.
Exactly. If you don't mind, I'm going to grab a nice plate here.
Okay, great.
And I'm going to build a burger for you.
Fantastic. Well, we got these gorgeous buns, a great representation. They look awesome just by themselves.
These are one of our favorite buns to use. It's a nice brioche bun. I've already browned the bun in some brown butter.
Got it. Okay.
Butter bun, brown butter. We like butter at the Painted Table. And what I've done is I've also made a little tzatziki. Tzatziki is a little sour cream yogurt, a little bit of dill, and cucumbers. Very simple. I already have some.
We have our nice finished burger there ready to go on. Yep.
Nice thick patty.
Yeah. Great representation. That looks
nice
awesome. Thick tomato.
Tomato.
Yep.
And I also have some lamb's ear lettuce, which is another word for it is mosh.
Okay. I mean, we're really going festive here with the lamb today. So.
Yeah, it's a burger is fun, and I think you should have fun with the food.
And Jeremy, the one thing it's not just about the main course; it's about the dishes that also go along with it.
You really, lamb is so rich. You really want a nice, lighter side dish. And what we've done is we've had 3 different types of salads: a nice orzo pasta salad, a nice tabbouleh bulgur wheat, and we have a nice fresh cucumber, dill, red onion vinaigrette salad.
Awesome. That's the salad of summer right there.
This is one of our most popular salads at the Painted Table. It's a nice plated lunch, dinner, And why don't you go ahead and give it a try?
Why? This is a monster. I'm trying to figure out the best way to have it here, but I think I'm just going to kind of nibble on the bottom part. There's no petite way to do it. Okay, I like that.
What do you think?
Incredible. This is the best you made for me.
Oh, thank you.
And that's saying a lot
Wow.
because you've made me some good meals. So
thank you very much.
and I'm a lamb lover. This is phenomenal. Gorgeous color, gorgeous texture, and just incredible flavor with the taste of all the mixings there.
Like, how's the bun?
The bun, you got it dialed in. Well, Jeremy, I want to thank you so much for sharing this awesome recipe for me, and I can't wait to make it this summer. But most importantly, I hope all of my guests will join me again for more Valley's Gold.
Valley's Gold is produced through a partnership between the Fresno County Farm Bureau and Valley PBS. Production funding for Valley's Gold is provided by
Everyone enjoys getting together to laugh, to talk, and mostly to eat. It sounds so simple, but the reality is that it takes a lot of hard work to feed us. The next time you sit down to eat, remember to thank our farmers. Garge Italian Incorporated since 1949 at 800-696-6108.
The Myers Water Bank and Wildlife Project, a water resource and education program, providing an educational experience that teaches students in the Central Valley about water and wildlife.
For more than 60 years, Brandt has been a major supplier of agricultural specialty products. Formerly Monterey Ag Resources, Brandt provides sustainable solutions for both conventional and organic growers. Brandt, we're proud to call the Valley home.